Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name's Jim. You can find us on our YouTube channel, that is Baby Boomer Tales. What I like about this venue to hear our podcast is it has closed captioning. There's other places, of course, you can hear our podcast, usually wherever podcasts are served. In a couple of days, it will be Halloween, and I have told several tales about this event in past podcasts. But all I can talk about it now is, how can I say this? On Facebook, I watched this little short video, and it showed one of those skeletons sitting in a chair on someone's porch. And a possum came up on the porch. I think there was something to eat up there or something. And all of a sudden, the skeleton moved. He raised his hands or something. And the possum fell over dead. You know, possums play dead. It's a very funny video. I saw several others with skeletons like that where dogs yipped and ran away and stuff. But what made this funny for me is I have witnessed a possum playing dead on 2 occasions and had several occurrences with a possum over the years living out here in the boondocks. My first one was, I had a dog named Homer. You know, I like the name Homer and Earl around here. And this dog, Homer, I was looking out my back window and there's a possum out there, and Homer came up to him kind of sniffing and smelling. He wasn't attacking him or anything. Very curious. And the possum looked at him and fell over dead. And Homer probably hung out around him for 5 minutes and then walked away, and the possum got up and waddled off. My second occurrence with possums, I put a live trap down at my pond. I was having a real muskrat problem, and I'm not very good with trapping things. I had some other type of traps also, but I put a live trap right at the water's edge and threw in some carrots or something in the trap. The next day I went out there, and I'm always concerned I'm going to catch a skunk. You know, what do you do with a skunk if he's in a live trap? There's only one thing you can do, and I'm not going to get into that here. But I go down there, and there's this possum in the trap, and he looked like he was dead. So I took the trap, and I opened the trap door, and I kind of got him out of the trap, and he just funked on the ground and laid there just as dead as could be. Dead possum. Well, after maybe 3 or 4 minutes, I hadn't said anything or moved or anything, and he finally kind of came around, probably figuring the coast is clear, and he waddled off. Possums don't scurry, they waddle. And he waddled off to safety. I thought, you know, I'm trying to catch a muskrat here, and this possum's in the way. My other experience with possums, or besides hitting them on the road, I always try to not hit them. They're a good little animal to have around because they eat ticks and they don't really bother anything. But I came home from work one day, this is, 15 years ago when I was still working, and I have a bird feeder in the backyard right kind of by the windows where we sit in the family room, can watch the birds eat. And it's only up there in the winter time, and it's always got these black oil sunflower seeds, they're called. And there are 2 possums eating the birds' food. So I went to shoo them off, and one waddled away as fast as he could go, and the other one turned around and went like he was going to take me on. Kind of set me back, like, whoa, doggies, what in the world? So I threw a piece of firewood at him. He didn't like that, and he did leave. So that's my story with possums. But that one on Facebook, if you can find it, it's hilarious. Skeleton making a possum die.
Housekeeping.
What are you guys doing? Why are we having housekeeping? What did I do last week to mess up?
Jim, you talked real low yesterday. Last week. It sounded like, hello, What do you do? You know what we mean?
Yeah, well, I had done that tree, if you remember the story, and I didn't even go out of the house for 2 days after I cut that tree down. It wiped me out. And I knew I had to do a podcast, and so I was sitting here with absolutely no energy. So my voice was probably real mellow and low.
Yeah, Jim. Like that.
Okay, well, so much for that. Is that all, Heather?
Yes, Jim. I'm glad you are okay.
You might find what you need and more at Homer Kate's General Store. You might find what you need and more at Homer Kate's General Store. Hello, Homer. What are you doing? Jerry, I'm getting ready for the trick-or-treaters in a couple days. I've got me some Snickers bars here, and some cherry mash, and some Butterfingers. You know, we always give them full-size candy bars, Jerry. Yeah, I know that, Homer. Let's have a candy bar. Well, okay. Don't tell Katie. So, what are you doing tonight, Homer? Gator L told me y'all are going somewhere. Told me to come talk with you about going along. Yeah, Jerry. It's going to be a good time. We're going down to Wheattown, and there's a new movie out called E.T. And it's about this guy that looks like a stuffed animal from outer space. Ooh, doggies, I think it's going to be a good time. Was this something like Star Wars or Star Trek, Homer? No, Jerry. It's more like Howdy Doody meets Clarabelle the Clown in outer space, I think. But I do know they have a telephone, and somebody's always telling them to call home. But that's all I know, Jerry. You coming? Homer, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Our song of the week is Remember When by Alan Jackson. This great song was released in 2003, and it reached #1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs. In this song, Alan Jackson looks back at his life with his wife. It's a wonderful song. It really is. Very touching. One of my all-time favorites. Remember when 30 seemed so old. Now looking back, it's just a stepping stone to where we are, where we've been. Said we'd do it all again. Remember when. Now for another segment of Forkey and Earl. Earl went down to Forkey's one day and said, "Hey Forkey, what's happening?" And Forkey said, "I'm getting ready to go to the El Grande there, Earl. You want to come?" And Earl said, "But Forkey, it's during the day, and the El Grande only shows movies at night." And Forkey said, "I know, Earl, but I'm going to go race my slot cars." And Earl said, "Oh, I should have known, Forkey. Why don't you like to come to my house and play with my HO cars?" And Forkey said, "Because they're so little, Earl, and I like to go down to the El Grande where they have that big old slot car track and race so fast, and there's 8 lanes wide, Earl, and you only have 2 lanes on your HO cars." And Earl said, "But Forkey, I can play at my house and I don't have to go down into town and wait for the El Grande to open up to play slot cars. I play with my HO cars." And Forkey said, "But I don't have HO cars, Earl." And Earl said, "I know, Forkey, I do, and you have slot cars." And so the boys went downtown, block after block, till they got to the El Grande Theater, and walked into the theater and walked down towards the screen, And Forkey said, "Earl, I've brought 3 cars with me. You can borrow one if you want." And Earl said, "Forkey, for some reason that is your thing and HO cars are my thing, and I think I will go home after I stop by the drugstore and buy a pack of baseball cards, and I will play with my HO cars." And Forkey said, "To each their own, Earl. Have fun." And Earl said, "You have fun too, Forkey. I'll see you later." And Earl went home, and Forkey drove as fast as he could on the slot car track. You know, Forkey and Earl is really remembering my friend Wayne and I. Wayne being Forkey, me being Earl. We actually called each other that when we were in our teenage years. Wayne passed away when he was 63 years old, way too young. And I saw a little bitty obituary on him years ago after he had passed. My Aunt Connie came up with just a little bitty newspaper clipping. So the other day I decided I was going to see if I could find him on the internet. And the obituary was word for word what Connie gave me in the newspaper, but there was a picture of Wayne. And also some condolences from friends and coworkers and whatever that knew him. And he kind of looked the same, only different. You know how that works? I mean, he was much older than when we used to pal around. He had some facial hair and his hair was longer. It brought back a world of memories. So I did want to do this one. Most of our stories, I think about 90% of them, are a takeoff on something that actually happened to the two of us while we were together. Since we're not having a Halloween episode this year, I just want to tell you about a Forkey and Earl that we recorded and released on October 27th, 2021. It's been a few years ago. It's episode 144, and the title is A Full Moon, a Wolf Howl, and Some Eyeballs. I listened to it the other day in preparation for doing this podcast, and it made me chuckle, made me laugh actually, made me remember, it made me feel good. Plus, it's a Halloween one. What the heck? Anyway, happy trails, my friend. I'll always remember you. Begin each day with a grateful heart and always be kind. I'll be back next Wednesday. Peace out.